This is Eric Schlosser. He is the author of the book Fast Food Nation, The Dark Side of the All-American Meal. He starts the book off telling of the Cheyenne Mountains in Colorado. Colorado was a big setting throughout the book. Schlosser talks about how a Domino's delivery man makes it past one of the highest government facilities just to deliver a pizza each week. He goes on explaining, and I quote, "This is a book about fast food, the values it embodies, and the world it has made. Fast food has proven to be a revolutionary force in American life. I am interested in it both as a commodity and a metaphor." The first chapter talks about the founding fathers like Carl and Karcher, who started a hot dog stand and opened a restaurant called Carl's Drive-In Barbecue. He also served as chairman and CEO of the company, running over 300 restaurants by 1981. Some other founding fathers, like William Rosenberg, dropped out of school at the age of 14 and started the company known as Dunkin' Donuts. Glenn W. Bell, Jr. was a World War II veteran and started Taco Bell. Keith G. Kramer heard of McDonald's and started Insta Burger King, later called Burger King. Dave Thomas started working at the age of 12, dropped out of school at 15, and started what is known as Wendy's. Thomas S. Monahan spent his childhood in foster homes, joined the Marines, and later started what is known as Domino's. The book tells of the Hamburger University, which is McDonald's managerial training center where you can get your degree in hamburgerology. In Chapter 2, Schlosser tells of Ray Kroc, who joined McDonald's and was the one that made it the way it is today. This chapter puts an emphasis on marketing, especially to children. Chapter 3 talks about Colorado Springs and how it is becoming another Southern California, leaving the old and adding more new, upselling and more upselling. He also explains that the biggest key to being the best employee for a fast food restaurant is obedience. Schlosser explains from a viewpoint of a teen, Eliza Zamot. He writes, and I quote, "About 2/3 of the nation's fast food workers are under the age of 20, unquote. The biggest part of Chapter 4 is using federal loans for franchising, and how there aren't many laws to protect against fraud. Chapter 5 explains the process of farming for potatoes and how small family farms are being taken over by large corporations. Quote, "Out of every $1.50 spent on a large order of fries at a fast food restaurant, perhaps 2 cents goes to the farmer who grew the potatoes," unquote. William Hefferman, professor of rural sociology, says that America is like an hourglass. The top shows 2 million farmers, and the bottom shows 275 million consumers, while the middle shows dozens of multi-corporations earning profit for each transaction. In Chapter 6, Schlosser met with a man named Hank, a local rancher in Colorado Springs. This is where the tables had turned, with all the talk of progress from Carl Karcher. On the other side, Hank saw all this progress as destruction to the integrity of America and the land. Chapter 7 takes place in Greeley, Colorado, a modern factory town where cattle are raised, slaughtered, and then shipped. Schlosser puts a big focus on ConAgra and their company's unsafe way of running things. Chapter 8 was the section that disturbed me the most. It talks of slaughterhouses through America and the lack of safety rule following. It tells of many stories of people getting injured or dying and then going unreported. Most employees are illegal immigrants desperate to work, so when they get hurt, they go to the hospital, get stitched up, and come right back to work. Chapter 9 talks about E. coli outbreaks and the lack of safety regulations set, and even the ones set are rarely followed. By the time most of the food is found to have E. coli, it is already too late to recall the majority of it. Chapter 10, Global Realization. This is a phrase used by the McDonald's Corporation to describe their goal to put their restaurants around the world. The goal is Americanization. By having them eat like Americans, they will start to act like Americans. The epilogue explains the author's initiative and ideas to better America, without banning the restaurants altogether. Eric Schlosser was born on August 17, 1959. He married Shauna Redford and had 2 children. This was his first book. He also wrote Chew on This, Americans, and Reefer Madness. The author's purpose is to bring attention to the issues of fast food and how it's made its way into our lives. He also wants to show the government's lack of help for the everyday person. He wants to show the truth of the American meal and what goes on behind the scenes. The author's tone towards the subject is change. He believes in the changing of fast food. The author used word choice very well. He used words that intrigued the readers and kept them interested. He formed sentences that were insightful and factual in a very clear way. For organization, I liked how he sectioned each point, but he didn't utilize the attention grabbers in the beginning. Imagery was mostly used in describing places rather than people. He used symbolism with McDonald's and how it has become the symbol of Americans' food today. The author didn't use very much figurative language. He is very to the point. I think this has to do with the fact that he's a journalist. And that's Fast Food Nation, the dark side of the all-American meal. Thanks for watching.